Welcome everyone to the NABC Championship Virtual Clinic. Our next guest, Brad Brownell, we're really fortunate to have him tonight, and he's going to speak on first day of practice. Before that, I just want to go through Coach Brownell's his lineage, his background. He went to DePauw, played there. Then he went to Evansville, went back home to Evansville as an assistant coach, and then Indianapolis as an assistant, UNC Wilmington as an assistant, then became the head coach there in 2002 to 2006. Then went to Wright State, did an unbelievable job there, and then really he's elevated the Clemson program. It's unbelievable what he's done there from 2010 to current. And some of his achievements, NCAA tournaments, accomplishments, CAA two-time tournament champion, and then the regular season championship twice. Horizon won the conference tournament and the regular season awards. Coach of the Year in the CAA and the Horizon. You know, just some of the great things he's done. Last year they were 27-7, 18-2, tied for second. Went to the sweet NCAA tournament. Coach Brownell, it's been an honor to be having on today. I was going to say one other thing. You've been a member of the NABC for 31 years. So, Coach, thanks for doing that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Happy to be a proud member for sure, and serve on the NABC Congress. Have done that for several years now, representing the ACC. So, very rewarding. My father was a high school teacher and coach. So I've been to clinics for most of my life. I am very appreciative of what all the coaches are doing at all levels, and think that they make a tremendous difference in the lives of the young people that we're working with. So, yeah, thanks for having me on. It's fun to be on.
Coach, I'm going to ask you about two of the guys that, I mean, you talked first about your dad and being hit. You played for him too, correct?
No, I did not actually.
Wow.
He kind of got out right when I was kind of getting into high school, and so he wanted to come watch more than he did want to get
tell
back
me
into
how
it
that
and keep
was.
doing it.
Tell me how that was. Your dad's an ex-coach, and you're playing, and him. How was it, that relationship as a father-son ex-coach?
Yeah, it was great. My dad was very hands-off. I mean, he would answer obviously questions when I went to him, but he was not the type of father that was like going to come after a game and come talk to you about how you played and, how many points you scored or any of those kinds of things. It was with him, it was about being a great teammate, finding a way to win and being a great teammate. Those were the two things that he consistently talked about with me. And obviously, having been a coach for many years, that, it's not surprising that he would go down that road. And that still kind of continues. One of the cool things for me is my dad is retired, I want to say 22 years ago, maybe 20 years ago. And he and my mom, they go to wherever I'm coaching and get out of the weathers of Indiana and come stay stay in Clemson here for the last 15 years. And my dad comes to practice every January, February, and March. They come to the games. And so it gives them a chance to, when they were younger, to be around my granddaughters or their granddaughters, who are a little bit older now. But so that's really fun to have your dad around your program for a couple months, mom and dad. I'm very blessed.
That's awesome. I'm going to ask you about your two coaches that you worked for, Jim Cruz, which your tenure at Evansville and my tenure at Drake crossed paths.
Okay.
You kind of took it to us a few times, and then Jerry Wainwright. Could you just talk about their kind of contributions? Maybe what kind of skills you took from them?
Yeah.
And what kind of attributes that helped you be as successful as you've been?
Well, I would include my college coach, Royce Waltman, in there as well, who I played for, and then I worked for a couple of years for coach as a GA at the University of Indianapolis. Coach Waltman and Coach Cruz were very similar stylistically, philosophy, and how to play, both having been assistants for Coach Knight at Indiana. So I was very blessed to play for and work for guys that really knew the game, taught me the game, and exposed me at a young age to real coaching. One of the things with Coach Waltman, he was a big team guy. I mean, just it was always team roles, roles within your team and finding a way to best utilize personnel. I thought Coach Cruz was an unbelievable detailed teacher, extremely organized. I remember that just working for him and just being in awe of the organization and the direction with which he did things with the staff and players and the program. And then Coach Waltman, or excuse me, Coach Wainwright. Man, I got to work for Coach for eight years. He was terrific. He did an unbelievable job with our players. I thought his relationship with players was really as good as I'd seen, and still to this day has those kinds of meaningful relationships, which is extremely important. I thought his ability to build a program, whether it's fundraising and friend raising and all the things that you have to do within your community to within your university, building a spirit and pride in your program. I learned a lot about those kinds of things from him. We were very similar. Coach was from Chicago, and so he too had been to some Bob Knight clinics and had some similarities. I think we were very similar in how we thought the game should be played, especially defensively, very physical and tough-minded. And I was fortunate that he gave me a lot of freedom as a young coach and responsibility within the program. And so I feel like I grew a great deal because of my work with Coach Wainwright. So I was very blessed to work for three terrific coaches.
My next question is going to lead right into our topic is the practice planning and first day of practice. I did some research on you, Coach. You have a really large playbook, offensive plays. And one of the guys I talked to yesterday said you could play him one time early in the season and play him another time, and it's like a whole different team. What the plays they run, also. So my question is, how do you instill or implement in those plays? How do you practice that type of style of play?
Yeah, one thing, it's been interesting being at Clemson for as long as I have. We rarely have the most talented teams, and so we've got to figure out some ways to best utilize our personnel. Certainly, with our recruiting model, we have to try to find the best guys that we can, and sometimes we have to change our system year to year or every couple of years a little bit offensively to better fit our personnel. We recently have played two bigs together and have kind of gone more to a high-low system. And so that's been much different here the last 3 years than maybe some of the other years. And I say all that to say I think that number one is what is critical is however you decide to play, whatever you decide to run, the plays you run, whatever it is, how best do you make it work for your personnel? And then once you kind of get into the season, you probably have got a base package that, whatever that is, how many plays you run that you're going to use. And then as you prepare for games, you need to remind yourself, that you're probably going to need a new player or two every so often against maybe a hedging pick and roll. Maybe there's something you want to do to attack that versus switching versus different things. And when we have time, we try to implement a few new things periodically throughout the season for new opponents. And so you've got to allow practice time for that. One of the things that we do is I believe in doing that at the beginning. So we may come out of a film session or whatnot and go right into almost like an install at one end and some walkthrough of defense at the other end, and maybe take 10 or 15 minutes that day and install two or three new actions and maybe talk about guarding two or three different types of actions at the other end, and then kind of switch the teams and have our second group install and our first group then flip to the defense. And then we stretch and get going ready to go. And so there's some time that we spend set aside for install that I think is critical, and also defensive game planning. And we try to do it that way so that once we start practice, we're not really slowing down. Now it's time to go to work, and for the next 60 to 90 minutes, depending on the time of year, we're going to get after it.
Well, this is a perfect topic when you said this is what I'd like to speak on for these coaches that are on the NABC Virtual Clinic, because they're all getting ready for their season. No one started yet at every level. So how many days into practice are you now?
Two. So we're just
Congratulations.
kind of getting started.
Good.
It's all fresh in my mind. It's funny when you talk to me, I thought, well, this is kind of what I'm starting to go through here. Let's be a good topic, a
Uh,
good thought for some folks that are kind of in the same situation, especially some high school coaches. I spoke at a couple clinics here last week, Georgia and Ohio, and so I know kind of everybody's getting geared up for the new year, and I think the way to have a really good team is you got to be extremely organized and efficient in your practices.
Got it. Coach, I'm going to turn it over to you. And then when you're done, then I'll come back. I've got like two or three questions and we'll be done. Again, thanks for doing this. We're unbelievably blessed to have coaches like yourself willing to help out the next generation of coaches. So I'll turn it over to you guys. First day of practice, practice organization and drills. Thanks, coach.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Yeah, I think I would lead by reminding your team, your players on expectations. I just met with our team a couple days ago, and the first thing I did was we went into the film room and just took 10 minutes to remind them on my expectations at practice. And number one is listen and concentrate. As simple as that is, when somebody's talking, when any one of the coaches is talking, everybody in the gym is to stop walking, eyes on speaker, and let's concentrate and really listen, because obviously if we're coaching one guy, we can certainly learn from that experience if you're another player. So that's number one for us. The second thing is just playing hard and emphasizing how hard you have to play, and that's going to be coached, and that you need to make sure that you are coachable during practice. And that has to do with your body language, nodding when coaches are talking to you, listening certainly with respect, so that we can be efficient in our work, and understanding that the coaches are going to challenge you to give you your best effort. So we do a lot of breakdown drills where, we're working in small groups, and reminding our players of how important that is, I think is extremely important to having a good practice. And then the last thing that we talk about a lot is being a great teammate um, at all times. That's not just in practice, but we remind our guys that, talking, communicating is vital to our team's success. And if you're not communicating and talking, you're really being selfish. And so we do a lot of discussion about talk. We require talk in our practices. We certainly want, when somebody goes down, we want guys to race over and help get them up, pick them up. And we want to have great spirit and energy during practice. Those are things players can control. So that's the first thing that I think is vital, is you pick a couple of things that you're going to talk to your team about, expectations for players day to day, and then you got to hold them accountable to those things in practice. Some other things to think about: staff size, depending on how big or small your staff is, how much you're going to utilize them in practice. I'm just big on efficiency. We do as many breakdown drills as we can, especially early in the year, because we think it's the best way to teach and get reps. And so you'll see us in groups of 3 and 4 several times in practice, where we're breaking down defensive fundamentals, maybe some offensive fundamentals or position work. And I want to encourage my coaches, my assistant coaches, to have big voices in practice, have a role. It's become more common at the college level for coaches to have the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. So we have that with a couple of our assistants for sure. And then we have another coach that we put in charge of rebounding. And so we put a major emphasis on rebounding in practice and in drill work. And so we have a coach that's in charge of that, Coach Dixon. And I think those things are vital. Just in terms of my practice plan, I just put a sample here. However you want to do it is up to you. I like having a couple diagrams on the side. You flip it over. Lucas McKay, one of my assistants, is helping me here, and so he's gonna man the controls. you flip it over on the back. We've got a few more diagrams, some space for notes if I need it. That's where we'll put our teams when we break down teams of 4, or certainly our orange and white teams, and remind guys of things either that are coming up or future practice times, whatever it may be in that situation. Go ahead, Lucas. Next one. I'll go ahead and flip to my sample practice, and we're going to show a few clips from some of this. I'm still one of those guys. I think it's really important that you're organized with practice, but I'm still a gut instincts guy. That's just how I've always coached. And I say that to say is we probably all have a drill list. I've got a couple sheets that have all my defensive drills. I've got a couple sheets that have all my offensive drills. And then I kind of, as the year gets going, I start to plan, hey, what are all the things that we need to put in? When are we going to put in our press offense? When are we going to install our BOBs and our side OBs? Our zone offense? Are you going to play zone defense? When do you want to install all those things? And so I've got some things jotted down every so often to when I think, we're going to try to get those things in. Usually most of those things we're going to try to have in by the end of the second week of practice. But as it pertains to how I do my practices day to day, or at even the beginning of every season, it's different. And I don't like to plan my first practice or anything like that, 72 hours ahead or anything. I'm doing it literally the day before. And some of that is just my feel, my gut. And you can see here that I just like to write things down. I'm old school, old fashioned. I write them down handwritten, and try to, get things with my staff, on the day of practice. And we're going to go through obviously the practice plan and my expectations for them, what drills I want them to be in charge of, what I'm going to do. I think what's a couple other things that come to mind before we get into our practice and our first practice, we're going to show you sample clips of that, is what are you emphasizing? What are the main points of emphasis that your non-negotiables for your team? For us at Clemson, the things that I think are non-negotiables certainly are taking care of the ball security. We keep track of turnovers every day. And our guys understand that. And we talk about it on a great deal. Sometimes we're going to run guys after practices. We don't do it every day, but we're going to have a whiteboard on the side of the court where we keep track of some of the things that we emphasize, like turnovers. Rebounding, as I talked about it, and that's our rebound attempts, how much we're tagging up and attacking the glass, and then if you have a safety system, how many times guys are doing their job in terms of transition defense. Safety, I think rebounding and transition are where the games oftentimes are won and lost, and sometimes don't get enough of the practice time. And so especially early in the year, we really hit rebounding. We try to hit transition defense. And I'm a big believer with things like rebounding, that it's not just a drill, a blockout drill, that it's more about what you talk about while you play. When you're doing a one-on-one drill or you're doing a two-on-two drill, I want my coaches emphasizing finishing with a clean blockout. And I think when you just do a rebound drill or two and you don't emphasize it completely with live play, that's a major problem. And so we really try to hit that. We also keep track of winners and losers in anytime we compete, and we're always going to compete, 3 or 4 or 5 times in separate practices. We're going to have winners and losers, and I'm just big on a quick up and back. I don't think the punishment needs to be that much. But I do think rewarding winning is important. We keep track of winners and losers overall in drills and in live play, and go over that with our players every couple of weeks to let them know whether they're consistently on teams that are winning or losing, and talk to them about reasons why that may or may not be the case. I think there when I've done this, I've been surprised that there are several times that you have guys who maybe have some good offensive stats and shoot the ball well from three, but their teams lose on a regular basis, and they need to be reminded that they think they're playing well because they make shots, make a couple of shots, and defensively they may be a liability or not doing much other than making a shot to affect their team. They may be turning the ball over. Team defense may be poor. They just may not be very competitive. And so we do a lot with that as well. The only other thing that I think I really kind of wanted to hit initially is having flow to your practice. This has been really good for me over the years. Obviously, I've worked for some great coaches like we talked about. Some of this is taken from them, but we usually every day is different. But whether we're working on some fundamentals versus team, how much are we doing? Like in this day for us, we actually lifted weights in the morning for 45 minutes in two separate groups. And when one group lifted, the other group was in the gym shooting. And so we got all of our shooting in the morning. And so now when we came to the afternoon practice, we didn't need to spend time with shooting. Guys stayed after or came early and got with a coach and maybe got a few shots up on their own. But we already got 35 minutes, 30 minutes of shooting in individually during the day. And I think especially throughout the year, that's something that we emphasize is shooting the basketball. And so we try to do a bunch of charting of makes and misses and have drills where we're charting shooting drills for our team and players and standards that we want them to make. Might do a 2-minute shooting drill and we want them to make 32 threes in 2 minutes or whatever it is. And I think that's important. And so those are things that would be in a normal practice, but are probably not going to show up in this first practice because we did lift and shoot in the morning. As we start to look at our first day of practice, we stretched, we warmed up a little bit, and then we went right into finishing school. And finishing school is something that I've started doing here the last couple of years. And it's really, I think it's gotten, the more you study the game, the more you see that guys don't make plays around the rim very well. And that teams that can make layups and all different kinds of layups and finishes, I think that's a major skill. And I think it's something you really need to practice. So in the last, I'd say 2 to 3 years, we've really put more emphasis on different types of finishing, whether it's 2-foot power layups, 2-foot reverse layups. In this deal, this practice here, we've got a back foot pivot where we're showing the ball and stepping through, back foot finishing. And then I call it a goofy layup where you go off the right foot, right hand layup, left hand, left foot layup. I think these awkward finishes are becoming more prevalent in the game, and mastering those has become really important. We probably have 8 or 10 different layups that we work on through the year. Obviously the Euro step, the pro hop, just all these different things that we'll do, but we usually try to do about 5 in a setting, and we probably do finishing school. I would say, if we practice 5 or 6 times a week, we're gonna do finishing school 3 to 4 of those days. So with that, I'll turn it over to Lucas, who's gonna, I think, give us some video here, and we can start to go through some of the things with practice. What you can see right here is we've broken down into 4 baskets. There's 2 post baskets, and then 2 perimeter baskets that guys are using. And I've got a coach at each basket, and there's a manager there with a pad. Again, you have to adjust this to however many coaches you have, but we think it's really important. And we just kind of start right there above the foul line. It doesn't need to be a lot. We do different things to start. Sometimes we toss the ball to our guys and we just do a quick sweep like Coach Bender's doing right here at the bottom basket. Sometimes we do between the legs dribbles, 2 between the legs dribbles. I think Coach Dixon's group in the middle on the left is doing that, and they're doing all the same finishes as everybody else, but they're doing a little bit of a different start. Coach Reynolds at the other end is kind of letting the guys come off a quick flip, Those are big guys, and so it's like a little toss, short toss to finishing. And then Coach Donald is just having his guys do like a quick crossover at his basket here, kind of by themselves. And guys are just going through all of their finishes. I really like this drill. I love that it gets going at the beginning of practice. Everybody's kind of getting going a little bit. Your motor's getting revved up, and you're getting a ton of reps in a short amount of time. So we're getting, several reps. We're working on 12. I think it's 12 layups here. And then what we'll do is we'll also keep track of these layups. And at some point at the end of practice or in the middle of a free throw segment, if guys miss layups, we'll sometimes make them do 5 push-ups for a missed layup. So if you miss 2 or 3 layups, you got 10 or 15 push-ups at the next dead ball where we're going to shoot free throws. So finishing school is kind of how we get started. Second thing for us, we want to kind of get them going up and down. And I call this is just an advantage offense drill. And we start with 2-on-1, and I call it diamond 2-on-1. And we got 2 lines. They're just outside the lane line. We actually have a manager who's a group of managers. We got about 3 or 4 managers, and they're standing under the basket over there up against the pad. So our guys have a head start, and then we've got one guy on defense who's just kind of back protecting the basket. And so I'm just going to toss the ball, and we're going to go 2-on-1. Go ahead, Lucas, with somebody chasing. And we're going to try to play through some contact, make good decisions, and finish on 2-on-1s. That's a good play by the first group. This group right here, run it back for me, Luke. Couple teaching points. Okay, freeze it. So this is a guard with the ball and a big man, and we actually want them to be just a half man behind on a 2-on-1. We think it's an easier pass, so we're trying to attack the big. If the big commits at all, we're going to drop it off to our big who's in the trail, and we like him to be a half man behind the ball because it's an easier pass, and then he finishes with momentum. He's not standing there waiting, so that's a good play by that group right there. I think it's Trent Steinauer for us doing a nice job. You can see we're mixing it up. Go ahead. Big man, half man behind. Pretty good pass and finish. I'm just kind of tossing it. Freeze it. So now this time we got a little ahead, and it's a turnover. What should happen here probably is that's a bigger guy who got the ball. If he can throw it to the guard and then let the guard attack the defender, and then the big be the finisher on the 2-on-1, that would be our preference. Here the guard gets ahead. We fumble the ball and it's a turnover. That's 5 push-ups. Again, now we're about even. We're a little bit trail. It's pretty good. Fast forward, Luke. Let's go to. Then we'll do a couple possessions of 3-on-2. We don't do as many of these. I don't think you get very many 3-on-2s, so it's not something that we work on as much. We'll do it a little bit. And as you can see, we're not always just doing the old school 3-on-2 where you hit the top of the key and then the wing cutters dive to the basket. We're trying to get some 3s in transition. And so we're trying to race the court, the ball up the court, and get our guys with their feet set for 3. And so that's something we're emphasizing. I think running and sprinting, if you're a 3-point shooter, we want to get you out there. Obviously, we'll take the attack if you're a bigger player. We try to center the ball. Went to the big, who's a very good finisher. Let's go to 4-on-3s now. Same drill. Now we're 4-on-3 with a chaser. Okay, so I stop it in the middle of that drill right there. Run that one back, please. I don't like that play. I don't like that 15-foot freeze it. This should be a 3-point shot or an attack to the rim. This is a bad decision by our freshman. We've got our big man who's actually trying to screen the low defender. He should be attacking the basket. We don't want pull-up jump shots from 15 feet in transition. Go ahead. Don't love that play either. That's a pass by a guard to a trailing big who's on the move. Don't love that decision. Would love to get the big on the rim and spread the court more. This is a good play. Run that back where we're hitting ahead and freeze it. We're filling to the ball side, three-point line, because we drag the defense down and we end up getting a three, which is good decision-making by our guys. And then let's go to 5-on-4 is the last one. So 5-on-4 +1 coming. We have the advantage. They guard the wings, leave our trailer open, so we tack. Good decision-making. Again, I'm tossing it to different places on the floor. This is a bad decision. Run this back. Our big, freeze it. So we're running. We got our two bigs in the game, so we're kind of in our trail secondary spots. There's no problem really with this guy shooting a three. The problem is he's got two better shooters to his left, and this should be passed down, across court and down, which is what we want to look for in transition. So this is a bad shot. This will be on the film breakdown for next practice to show. One more. Pitch ahead. Didn't flatten them as much as I wanted. Very poor pass by a freshman. They do a good job of flowing into offense, and then another poor decision. Run it back. So now one of the hardest things to do, I think, for young players, hit pause, Luke, is to go from transition where you're running 85 miles an hour as fast as you can. Some people want to always get to the baseline, make sure we sprint to the baseline. And then all of a sudden the defense is back, and now you got to slow down to 55 miles an hour and make decisions. Young players have a very hard time with this. We do a good job of flowing into our ball screen here and playing out of it. But then our decision-making is poor. Freeze it. Our freshman is going too quick. He really has the big guy right in front of him for a duck-up layup, or he's got the raised man behind off the shake for a three. And so we've got to really drill this where we flow from transition. They've got numbers. We don't have an advantage or a quick shot to flowing into our offense. Obviously, it's early in the year. This is one of the things we're really working on. All right, sake of time, let's keep it moving. So now we're going to go to defensive breakdown. So I like to start practice with skill work, some shooting, something of that nature to get them going a little bit. Then I like to run some sort of drill that gets them up and down, some sort of advantage offense. Maybe it's a passing drill, anything to get them moving a little bit up and down. And then all of a sudden, bam, about 15 minutes into practice, we're going to go right to our defense. And so initially we're going to do defensive breakdown. This is called Tiger Closeout. It's kind of a 2-on-2 drill. The two guys on each side of the court are working together. This is not a 4-on-4 drill. And so the coaches are skipping balls. We're going into a closeout. Go ahead, Luke. So we're getting a quick closeout, freeze it. And then we're getting a pass back to the bigs. And now we're just doing a quick DHO. So we're trying to have a combination drill where it's a closeout, a baseline drive that we're just working on contact with the driver, then a pass back to the coach. And now we're just working on our DHO defense. We've got them outside the three, so we want to give space and let the defender go through. And we got great communication, and then we run it into a final step out ball screen, and our big has to show. So 4 guys come out. We get a closeout. We didn't line up properly. Starting to paint, close out, 1 or 2 dribbles show. Coaches are doing some coaching there. You can see we didn't give space on the top. And so we're trying to coach on the move here. Just try to keep the drill moving. Early in the year, we're doing this drill together. Some rah-rah, just try to get some spirit, some defensive energy together. We'll also do drills where we're going to separate and break and get more reps. So this is Tiger Closeout. Baseline drive, close out by the big, guard the ball, let the cutter through. Good. Next. Next drill, freeze it. So this is another 4-on-4 drill. We call it 2-on-2 continuous skip, and we're working on closeouts. And so the way the drill works, anytime there's a skip pass, the two guys are out where the ball came from. So here we go. We're tossing it in. This is a good energy drill. Freeze it. We're closing out to the ball. The guards, the scout team guys can dribble handoff, and so we're working on jump switching if it's same size guys. You can see our guys are way over and help on ball towards ball side, which is really good. Go ahead. We're guarding the ball, not letting it, and then freeze it. There's a skip. So on that skip pass, the two guys that were on ball side are off, and the two new guys are coming in. What I like about this drill is it makes guys on the baseline, you got to be alert. It could happen quick. And so guys got to pay attention. They got to have a little juice. It's really just a form drill. The offense is just moving the ball. Defense is working on fundamentals, footwork, and positioning. There was no switch on that because of they weren't same size. Here's a skip, two guys off. Good job guarding the baseline drive. Another skip, two guys off. And you're working on help and recover. Help and recover. Same size guys, jump switch. Freeze it. Very good. So that's kind of our 2-on-2 continuous skip. It's a little bit different than shell in that there's a lot more just help and recover kind of with the closeouts. Now we go right into one-on-one, and we do one-on-one almost every day in some form or another. On the right side of the court, you're going to see what is called our alley drill. Coach Donlan's got our guys. They're going to go three-quarter guard the ball, alley, working on their slides in a short space. Offense is really working on their ball handling. And then when they get to about the top of the key, then it's live one-on-one. So that's what our point guards are doing right now. We got about 3 or 4 guards that are working on that. Down here on the basket closest to us, we're doing the one-on-one wall drill, where you put the ball on the back of the defender, and we start it just above the foul line. I actually got this drill from Porter Moser, terrific coach at Oklahoma. And as soon as the offensive player takes the ball off his back, you're trying to step and put your chest on him and be physical and working on kind of the whole wall on wheels, where you're working on your wall ups and being physical that way. So we're going to do that at both baskets. We're doing it at the 2 offside baskets. The big guys are doing, half the big guys are doing it at the other basket as well. And then in the middle, the other group of big guys, so we're in groups of 3. We got 6 big guys. 3 guys are doing, we call it bully ball, and we're just working on back down defense, where guys are backing down and working on their one-on-one offense and one-on-one defense. So we've got all this going on. Then after a couple minutes, we're going to switch and we're going to rotate. The guards are going to rotate to one-on-one wall D and one-on-one alley, and the bigs are going to rotate from one-on-one wall to bully ball. Go ahead and let it go, Luke, and we'll look at it live. You can see in the middle basket, they're just working on back down and working on moving their feet. That was very poor defense. He's got to go again. He didn't get a stop. In the alley over here, these guys are guarding the ball hard. Offensive man is trying to make a one-on-one move, and he does and scores at the top. And then in our one-on-one wall right here, the basket in front of us, one thing that we don't like on that move right there is when a guy drives one way, you got to make him stay on his right side there. You can't let him spin back to the middle. Obviously, this is our first day of practice. Some of this we've done a little bit in our skill work in the preseason, but this has really been our first chance to really get after these guys a little bit in some of these drills on a consistent basis. I love it. I got 4 baskets working. Every group has no more than 4 players, so everybody's working. You can already see guys on our team are bending over These are pretty taxing drills. There's no rest. Usually you have to get a stop to get out. And then after about 3 or 4 minutes, we're going to rotate. And so you're going to do the second group for your position group in this scenario. All right, now we're going to go right to a shell. So now we got to get them back together. Now we're going to work together in basic shell. And there's a bunch of different things that you can do in shell. Obviously, you can do all your screening drills out of shell. But early in the year, positioning is the most important thing. Getting guys to jump to the ball is vital. And getting guys over. We overemphasize how far you need to be over initially. And so the first thing we work on is just the guard forward pass and the guard forward cutter. Go ahead, Luke. So you're going to jump to the pass on the cut, and we have both guys, freeze it, are supposed to tag the cutter. So right here, we jump to the ball, do a good job. The top guy is going to do a good job of touching the cutter. The bottom guy who's straddling the lane line does not touch the cutter. We want him to come over and touch the cutter. So guys are emphasizing being over and help. Now we're moving the ball. Decent job with high hands. Both guys touch the cutter. Once we've gotten 2 reversals, now we're live helping recover against a couple scout guys, and they're just going to try to get a shot. And we're going to emphasize rebounding the ball on a block out. So again, guard forward pass, jump to the ball, tag the cutter, closeouts, jump to the ball, tag the cutter again. The second weak side guy doesn't tag, doesn't do a good job of tagging. And so we're going to start over. Jump to the ball, tag, close out to your man. Jump to the ball, tag, close to your man. Pretty good job. Tagging, freeze it. So what happens is, run it back. Obviously, we've got 10 new players at Clemson this year. Guys are taught different things. So freeze it. They're jumping to the ball. The cutter goes through, and one of my new players, a freshman, gets whipped on the drive, and the other new player, an older player, is used to denying more passes, and so now he's denying the reversal instead of helping in the gap. And we're more of a gap team. And so we're going to stop this immediately, and this group is going to have to go again. Jump to the ball, tag the cutters. Run that back. You can see on the pass, run it back. He doesn't jump to the ball, he jumps back, which is a common freeze it right here on this, freeze it. See how he's jumping back? He's not jumping to the ball. So I'm stopping it, and we've got to fix all these habits early. We're only going with about a 20-second shot clock right now, and guys are trying to be perfect. We tell 2 reversals through, then the scout team is live. Most of the time, you're guarding here for about 15 to 18 seconds to start. We got work to do. We got to get a little bit better. The next thing we'll do when we start to go to guard pass. So now every once in a while we're going to exchange on a guard-to-guard pass. Good job, help right there. Good jump switch, good communication, good gap. That's better. Got a little turned around on the top. Freeze it. Great job. Again, what freshman gets back cut because he doesn't see ball and man, but we have high hand activity and get the deflection. So great job there. One more. Freeze it. Guard forward pass. Run this back. So the emphasis in this drill on this guard-to-guard pass, we're trying to remind our players so you can see the guy on top is going to become the lowest man. And so he's got to see the ball. You can see right now he's watching his man cut away. He needs to see the ball. One more pass, Luke. Freeze it. So now we're working on our lowest man having to recognize the fire while he's dropping. And a lot of times that doesn't get done, especially early in the year. Decent job. Freeze it. That's very good defense. All 4 guys are below the foul line, sinking to the level. And we tell our guys, you're looking at the eyes of the passer and the shoulders of the passer. So as soon as he starts to turn like he is now away, you should be going back to your men for closeouts. And we really want to go quickly. Freeze it. Very good. Very good job on that. Okay, last one. Jump to the ball. Good. Not bad. A little bit low on that one. Good. Good job, hand activity. All right. So that's our shell. We spent probably about 10 minutes on shell D. And then we again, I want to keep our guys moving. I think when you're designing your practice, I talked about flow of your practice. This is what I'm talking about. We're doing a lot of things very quickly. So in that defensive breakdown, there were a couple different drills. Alley guard the ball drill, wall one-on-one D. We spent 4 minutes each on both situations. Then we go right into shell D. 8 to 10 minutes is all we're spending. We're trying to keep the practice moving, especially defensively. And I think the way to keep your flow and to keep your guys moving, you do a couple half-court defensive breakdown drills. Now you got to get them stretched back out. This is both a transition D drill and an offensive advantage drill. We've put the guys in 3 teams. We're touching the line. It's the simple drill, but how are you coaching your guys? We're making it hard right now. We're only going to do 4-on-4, which creates much more space, makes it harder on the defense. What we found out, though, is our new guys offensively, we really don't know how to run and play in transition very well. We don't have very good spacing. So in this drill, we're going to go 3 teams, 4-on-4, touch a line, and we have one coach who's only coaching defense, one coach who's coaching offense, and a couple other coaches that are coaching both with me. Here we go, touch a line. So we're touching it, freeze it. The first thing is sprinting back with 3 guys. If we recognize we've got 3 guys back, we really want to get into a triangle, and we want to take the 2 closest passes. So the one to the left and this runner coming right down the lane to the right. The man in blue running the far right lane, we should be leaving him open. Really what hasn't happened is the 2 guys in white who are closest to the basket, they should already have their butt to the baseline, and they should be pointing and talking. Neither guy has sprinted and turned and gotten his butt to the baseline, and so they're half turned and they're not in great position, inside out. Offensively, we do a good job we got a trail big who's got some hands, can make some plays. He catches the ball on the run. And now the blue team, go ahead, Luke. Drags the defense down and gets a wide open 3. Good offense, poor defense. Now freeze it. What we do is we play things like misses live. If you want to be good in transition, you got to keep playing full court. The game is full court. And so any kind of missed situation, we're going to convert back 4-on-4, and it's full regular transition, and now we're keeping score. Winners and losers. And now they're back, so we need to flow into our offense. What are we flowing into? We're flowing into a ball screen. Drag ball screen. Freeze it. They're in drop coverage. They do a good job of switching it late. And now defensively, they've done a good job. We got a 5-man guarding a 3-man on a turnaround back foot pivot shot. That's not an easy shot. Pretty good defense. Not great offense. We did not finish with the rebound, so we got to keep playing. Probably should have been a shot. We got some young guys that don't understand you're not going to get as good a shot as that. Same thing, touch a line. Freeze it. Go back a little bit. We have miscommunication. One more step, please. Right here, freeze it. We should be running back to our triangle, but the guy on this side should be declaring the ball. And then on reversal, we got to get everybody back to ball side. Go ahead. Freeze. Not a bad job there. We're a little slow getting back. And you can see when the ball gets skipped, Right now, the blue team should all be coming to this side of the court. They should be coming into the lane. And this is where guys rest and don't play very hard. Go ahead. And so now we're beat on this. This is a poor play on offense and D. Go back to that. So this will be on our training tape for the next day. Freeze it. First of all, the guys in blue should be over. We should have the ball side elbow guarded. We should have the low post man should be coming here to see the ball and protect the rim. And then the weak side guard should be ready to snap back down, crack back on the big if we need it. We don't love this middle drive. Offensively, we have terrible spacing on the backside, and the big should be in the gutter behind the play, maybe circling under to try to get a layup and create more space. And so instead, we're on top of each other. We've got a bad finish. This is a bad possession on both offense and defense. Transition again. Freeze it. Run it back. Freeze it right there. Not terrible. We're straddling the lane line opposite. Not bad. Pretty good job of blue to flow. They got two bigs, so they're playing in the middle of third. Go ahead. And now we're flowing into the next side with a quick dribble pitch. Left the ball. Poor communication. No talk on switch or no switch by guards. Freeze it. Terrible possession. Run it back. This is you don't know what your players know and what they don't know. This is a prime example. Go back to the beginning, please. This is a defensive drill, but it's great. The great coaches coach both. There is no just defensive drill. You're coaching offense and defense at all times. If you're not coaching the offense, you're allowing bad things to happen. So right here, we've got a 4-on-3 advantage. Freeze it. But all three guys on this side of the floor are perimeter players. And so we really need to slow down, and there needs to be more space between the guy running the right lane and the guy who's receiving the pass. The guy with the ball should take one more dribble, and these guys need separation. Instead, we're right on top of each other, and now we're out of control, and we've got a turnover. Again, now we're out of control a little bit. We need to slow and get into our flow. Very good job. Very good fake back cut pass into a wide open three. One more of these. Touch a line. Get the ball to a guard. Freeze it. Very good spacing. That's what we want. We got our rim running big. Attacking the rim. We got the ball reversed, and it goes right in. That probably should have been a shot. Coach Brownell stopping it. Go back defensively now. So that was good offense. Not bad defense. Freeze it. Except my guard's a little late getting across to the help, and that should have been a little bit of a better trap. We tell our guys, if a guy catches it in the block area and you're in the area, we want to work on just trapping. So we're going to be more aggressive. And so we were a little step slow in that play. Obviously, it's early in the year. But that's our defensive breakdown. Now we're going to three-quarter court offense. So now we're just, again, I know a lot of people, we use our scout guys a good bit, as much as we can. Freeze it. Some of it to save reps for our guys, but also just to help with our flow. And just like now we're emphasizing our offensive flow. And so we're going to take 7 or 8 minutes, and we're just going to get a couple entries and flow into some of our high-low offense series. We want to work on our reads. We want to work on moving the ball, our spacing, playing with some pace. Freeze it right here. One of the things that we try to do is start it, Paul, is start it at three-quarter court and not just start it like at the top of the key or half court all the time. We try to start the ball because we want to play more full court offense. So we're trying to start the ball at 3/4 court and get a little bit more flow into our possession and make it a little more realistic. So we're in our 3/4 court. Now we're into our high-low game, and guys are making reads off pick and rolls and looking at the high-low man. I think we got fouled in the post on that possession. We're working on our point guard, changing sides of the floor. Looking at our high-low game. Side pick and roll. Right now we changed our defense. Our defense is into drop coverage. 5-man is into drop coverage. Good high-low work. Again, coaching every possession, turnovers, shot quality. You can see we're over dribbling. Run it back. We've got bad spacing. Freeze it. So like right here, we've got bad spacing. Our guy who's in the far left corner really should be emptying and making a low cut along the baseline to create space. We don't have it. Again, we have a new team, and so we've got 8 guys playing on one side of the court. That's one of the negatives with sometimes playing 2 bigs, is your spacing is not always quite as good. And so you've got to teach your guys off ball to really move and react and read the situation. So that's 3/4 court offense. Next, we're going right into just a couple of ODO. So now we're going to do 5-on-5 ODO for 10 minutes. And we're going to keep score, -3 for turnovers. I think we give an extra point for offensive rebounds. And we're just controlled 3 possession. Trying to pick up a little bit. Again, we just worked on our 3/4 court offense. So now can we flow against each other in a live setting? There's a pressure deny. Very good job. Freeze it. I stopped it right there because we didn't have everybody get back across half court. And so I stopped it and we ran our guys an up and back because we got a steal and all 5 defenders didn't get across. So we did a couple possessions of this. We did 10 minutes, a 10-minute game. And we're working on our high-low stuff that we just practiced against the scout. And now we're going to keep score. You can see one of the teams on the scoreboard has 194. That means they've had 2 turnovers, so they're -6. It's 12 to -6 right now. The White's getting crushed. Guys want fouls. We don't call very many fouls. Run that back. There's one of the finishes I'm talking about. This is a great pitch ahead. Freeze it. And now you got a goofy layup right there. A left foot, left hand, goofy layup, high finish against a defender. We let our guys shoot that shot because we practice it every day. 4 days a week, we practice goofy layups, 2-foot finishes. Those are winning plays right there. That was a great possession. So we did that for 10 or 12, I think it was 12 minutes. We played a game. The orange beat the white. The white had to run. Now we're going right back into another defensive segment. And our defensive segment is 4-on-4. You got to get 3 stops in a row. Hit pause, please. And so what we're doing is you can see the orange team is up here huddling with Coach Bender. And he's just giving them a quick action. We've got 3 teams of 4. He's giving them an action. I'm on the baseline with 2 other coaches, and we're all 3 coaching the defense. And these teams have got to get 3 stops in a row. And so we're dealing with back screen defense, ball screen defense, ghost screens, trying to teach our guys to X out, do all the different things. They got to make reads. Right there's a beautiful X out, and we got them to shoot a kind of a guarded shot under duress. I think we give them 18 seconds on the shot clock, and now we're going to guard an action. Blue's got to get 3 stops. So now the white goes to half court to get an offensive play. Coach Bender gives them the offense. Freeze it. Pretty good shot contest. No score. Good pressure on the catch. Hedge the screen. The bigs are trying to X out. My freshman doesn't kind of see it. The blue gets lucky that white misses. So now white goes on defense, orange comes in on offense, and blue goes with Coach Bender. I love this drill. I think this is great. Your guys have no idea what's coming. There are different actions coming. You have all your defensive principles where you've taught some of your screen D. We've done a little bit of that in the preseason. We haven't taught all the screens, but we've taught a few of the screens, a couple back screens, a couple cross screens. And now, like right there, we make a bad decision, run that back, to go inside a quick screen away instead of staying connected. I got two freshmen here. One guy goes under. The other big is not quite out far enough to extend the screen. And the shooter in blue makes them pay. And so you you back to zero. You got to get 3 stops in a row. Now, that's a good segue for, as a coach, the head coach, you can decide sometimes whether your team's going to have a good practice or not, just by your mood, your spirit, how much pressure you put on your players. Every once in a while, if our team is doing really well, maybe we've won 3 in a row and we're starting to feel pretty good about ourselves. We may go to a Monday practice after a big Saturday win, and it's going to be really hard for them to have a good practice. I'm going to make it very hard on them. I'm going to be very demanding. I'm going to raise my voice a little bit. I'm going to challenge them. We're going to be on them to a high levels extreme of details, and we're going to just put a lot of pressure and challenge our team. And obviously what I've decided is that day we need more toughness than maybe we do some of the work that we're going to do. At other times in the year, it's just the opposite. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure we have a spirited, quick, productive practice where we finish feeling really good about ourselves and confident for the next game. And obviously that's how you want to feel most days. I think the longer you coach, the more you realize that, hey, I write this practice plan up, and then some coaches die on the practice plan. It's like we're getting through this no matter what. And so when something starts to go bad, like a 4-on-3 transition touch the line drill, you just keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it, and you don't get anything else done. Well, if you want to have a very difficult, challenging practice, you make them finish it. Sometimes you've got to come up with drills that are more peppy and spirited and have a chance for guys to be successful so that you end practice with good feeling and so that you're going into games with a great mindset, a confident swagger. And obviously you're going from drill to drill quickly to try to change how things are done. But I think that's really important. Obviously early in the year, we're going to be a little more demanding. We're going to make sure we get it right. We're going to make sure we stop and teach. But I think if you're not careful, sometimes when you stop practice consistently early on, you're allowing mistakes and bad habits to fester. There's a really fine line between competitive parts of practice where, hey, we're competing. I don't care sometimes how well we close out fundamentally. I want to get the ball. We got to get it stopped with more fight, because sometimes there are form drills. Our 2-on-2 continuous skip is a form drill to kind of get our spirit up. But then there's competitive drills like this right here. 4-on-4-on-4, 3 stops in a row. We're living and dying until somebody gets 3 stops. We're not letting them up, especially early in the year. We could be on this drill for a half an hour if it goes bad. Doesn't happen often, but I do think as a coach, you've got to make some concessions and you got to figure some things out. You got to make decisions on what kind of practice you want to have, and you got to make sure that your drills lead to either success right away, or if you want to just compete and get fire, you better shorten your practice and really get after it. And I think that's the key to being a really good coach, is figuring out what your team needs. One of the things that I've learned is one of the major arts of coaching, if you will, is knowing when to apply pressure and when to take it away. And that can be done in a variety of ways. Applying pressure in practice to your team, taking the pressure off your team, and doing the same with individual players. I think that is really one of the big arts of coaching. And that's all I got today. This has been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it. And I know Tom's going to come back on here, but I really want to thank the NABC for, again, all they do. And proud 31-year member, I guess, is what Tom told me today. And obviously, Championship Productions, they do a great job of helping us spread this great game.
Coach, I got two questions for you. One is, could you just walk us through how different preseason, regular season, postseason, maybe how you organize practice, how long it goes, and what are the phases kind of?
Yeah. Obviously, in the beginning of the year, I think you have to be really careful. We did our shooting, as I mentioned during the video, we did our shooting in the morning. So we kind of had knocked out probably what would be 15 to 20 minutes of shooting. We already knocked that out. And so our practice, I think this first practice was about an hour and 45 minutes. Normally that's a 2-hour and 2-hour, 15-minute practice if you're doing all of it. We really try to do this a few times early on. I think it's hard. You haven't been practicing, then all of a sudden you make your guys go into a 2-hour practice. If you're not careful, you're going to get some injuries late because guys aren't ready for that. And so we don't practice quite as long as we did when I was first in coaching. It would have every practice the first month of the year was almost 2.5 hours. We're now more in that 1.5, 90 minutes to 2 hours at most. And again, we're going to no more usually than 3 days in a row. Then we're going to take a day off. And of those 3 days, we may or may not have a ton of contact every day. 2 days in a row of real contact is probably what we're doing. As we progress into the season, certainly as we're pretty similar to Thanksgiving. We probably slow down just a little bit through the Christmas break, but then I'm big on, again, we're going to bring guys in twice. We might do some shooting or film and things like that, and then bring guys back for traditional practice. But when we get to January and February, 90 minutes is max, and that's usually way more in January. I would say it probably in January, late January, it drops to 80 minutes, hour 20-minute practices. And then as we get into February and March, we're more like an hour 10, maybe hour 15 at the most. And more times than not, if we can be around an hour to an hour 10, that's probably where I like to fall.
My next question, Coach, do you have like a master list, like you check off, hey, we got through all of our inbounds plays we want to have for that first game? Like, do you have any kind of thing you put together where within the first 5 practices, we want to do these things, next 10, this? How do you keep track
every
of
year
everything?
is different. Kind of what I said earlier, I like to have, I want basic zone offense, basic press offense, some BOBs and side OBs, and then whatever it is, maybe, 8 or 10 plays, maybe 12 plays by the first 2 weeks. I want to be able to play a game, within 10 days, and that's probably changed that a little bit, gone more that way, especially with the brand new team like we have this year. We've started install right away. We actually did a couple things. We got a couple BOBs and side OBs in our preseason. And obviously you're going to add throughout the year. So I don't think you have to stress about getting everything in, but you do want to get a couple just so then when you start to play, that when the ball goes out of bounds side, you can just, hey, let's get into our sideline box and let's get it going. And BOB goes out, you just keep your flow in practice. So when we did not do an 8-minute game or a 4-minute game. That first practice, we did more ODO, 3 trips, but quickly we're going to get into 8-minute games, 4-minute games. And so that so we can keep our flow. We want our guys empowered to be able to call some BOBs and side OBs on their own. And so, yes, we're going to do that.
Well, first of all, the practice setting was awesome. And knowing that I was at Florida State, we played at Clemson, that's a tough place to play. And you guys do a great job. Practice, thanks for sharing all this stuff with us. Great ideas for coaches. Coach, thanks for being with us today, and good luck this season. And if you ever need anything, don't hesitate to let us know.
My pleasure. Again, thanks to the NABC and Championship Productions. This was a lot of fun, and hopefully helps a few folks here as they get started for what I'm sure will be another great year.
Thanks again, Coach.
Thank you.